tactic where he takes 2 billion gallons of water and then floods farms that are nowhere connected to Southern California. And it was like, look, everybody, I did it. I'm a hero. Give me applause. It's just so, it's fascism, but it's also this like wannabe fascism. It's idiotic. As G. Elliott Morris, well-known pollster, says, brand new polling from YouGov out this morning finds that Donald Trump's actions regarding LA are really bad polling. Double-digit disapproval when it comes to Donald Trump sending in the Marines. And Elliott Morris says this should be a reality check for those people arguing the protests inherently help Trump because his immigration approval is positive. When you just ask people generally, should we have immigration reform? People say yes. When you start asking the questions, should we be taking people who are not criminals, who have been here for a while, who are hardworking, who pay taxes, and we rip families apart and do these ICE raids? People don't approve of that. It's the way these questions are asked and framed. Look, I don't want to see criminals here. If there's criminals here, either American criminals, send them, bring them to justice. If they are immigrant criminals, bring them to justice. Do I think we need strong borders? I think absolutely we need strong borders. Do we need to have comprehensive immigration reform, though, that understands labor needs and paths toward citizenship for hardworking people who contribute to this country? Yes, absolutely. That helps our country. That gives us more tax revenue. That allows other people to have the American dream. It makes us stronger. I'll give you this data point right here. Think about the state of California. For all of the attacks that all the red states do against California. California has the 4th largest GDP, not in America, in the world. If California was a country, it would have the 4th largest GDP of every single country in the world. Why? Because diversity is a strength. And this other fact is important as well, as Donald Trump whines and squeals and panics. California is the biggest donor state. Without California, all the red states would go absolutely bankrupt. California subsidizes. I know Donald Trump likes the word subsidize, but uses it incorrectly, where he goes, America subsidizes Canada. Absolutely not. Donald Trump doesn't understand what a trade deficit is. But when it comes to California, actually is subsidizing mostly all the red states in the United States. Sorry, I digressed there, but it was an important point. A lot of people are posting things like this. Trump is absolutely wearing a Foley catheter. It's a tube inserted into the bladder to drain urine into a bag strapped to the leg. That line down his pants, not a crease. It's tubing, people are saying. Every step he takes sounds like sloshing of a warm Capri Sun. You take a look at that right there. And other people have pointed to, other photos like that of Donald Trump. I'm not a medical person. That's being posted. You can judge it how you want to judge it. I think this was, for all of the Palestinians for Trump, or Muslims for Trump, or Arabs for Trump. This was announced today from the Washington's ambassador to Israel. U.S. no longer wholeheartedly endorses an independent state for the Palestinians. It shouldn't be surprising if you know Donald Trump, but tried to warn you of that. Now all the right-wing influencers they literally have the exact same talking point this morning. Ban all third world immigration, legal or illegal. There should be a moratorium on all immigration from the third world. We've reached our capacity. We cannot be the world soup kitchen. They literally all say the exact same thing. Maybe slight variations in the words, but they literally get their talking points as the influencers and they push them out all together. And there's like literally hundreds of others like that. That's part of the influence operation. Billions of dollars are spent by right-wing billionaires for that operation to push all this messaging out. So people go, wow, that must be the way lots of people feel. No, it's completely astroturfed. All right. Going to the hearing this morning. I'll do a whole other video covering these hearings. Here's Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and he's asked by Democratic Congressman Aguilar. So under the statute that Donald Trump claimed to invoke to federalize the National Guard, there has to either be an invasion by a foreign nation, a rebellion against the government, or the president is unable to execute the laws with his regular ability. So which one is it? And you'll see. Hegseth goes, it's all of them. We were invaded by a foreign nation in California. There was a rebellion. I mean, it's just such lunacy. Here, play this clip.
Exactly what we're doing, and we're proud to do it. We're proud to do it.
10 U.S.C. of the U.S. Code 12406 as a legal basis that the president used cites 3 examples and circumstances for the Guard: invasion by a foreign nation, a rebellion or dangerous rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States, or the president is unable with regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. Which authority is triggered here to justify the use?
I don't know. You just read it yourself and people can listen themselves, but it sounds like all 3 to me. If you've got millions of illegals and you don't know where they're coming from, they're waving flags from foreign countries and assaulting police officers and law enforcement officers. That's the problem.
The laws of the United States.
No, the governor of California is unable to execute the laws of the United States.
The president, you said all 3
governor of the California has failed to protect his people, along with the mayor of Los Angeles, and so President Trump has said he will protect our agents, and our Guard and Marines are proud to do it.
The law also says, Mr. Secretary, that the orders for these purposes shall be issued through governors of the states.
You and I both know that President Trump has all the authorities necessary, and thankfully he's willing to do it on behalf of the citizens of Los Angeles, on behalf of our ICE agents, and behalf of our country.
We've also pulled $1 billion for the...
More emails this morning from Donald Trump begging for money. Ben, should I hang up my official donor list in the Oval Office? How pathetic can you get there? And then you have MAGA Mike Johnson saying that he believes that Gavin Newsom should be tarred and feathered. Tarred and feathered, to which Governor Gavin Newsom responded, good to know we're skipping the arrest and going straight from the 1700 style forms of punishment. A fitting threat given the GOP want to bring our country back to the 18th century. Here's what MAGA Mike Johnson had to say. Play this clip.
The president said, possibly in jest, that if he were Tom Homan, he would arrest Gavin Newsom. Do you believe that Newsom should face consequences in a legal way?
Look, that's not my lane. I'm not going to give you legal analysis on whether Gavin Newsom should be arrested, but he ought to be tarred and feathered. I'll say that. I mean, look, he's standing in the way of the administration and the carrying out of federal law, right? He is applauding the bad guys and standing in the way of the good guys. He is trying to. He's a participant, an accomplice in our federal law enforcement agents being not just disrespected but assaulted. This is a serious problem, and the governor is now filing a lawsuit against the president. What a joke. Do your job, man. That's what I tell Gavin Newsom. Do your job. Stop working on your rebranding and be a governor. Stand up for the rule of law. He's not doing that. So I don't know what the ultimate measure will be there, but I know that in the interim time, the president of the United States is showing real leadership, and we're not going to allow LA to burn. We've seen this movie before, right? This thing gets out of hand real quickly, especially in a big city like that. And if local and state officials are unwilling or unable to do their job, the president of the United States will do his, and we support that fully.
And then CNN asks the Department of Homeland Security spokesperson, Tricia McLaughlin, Section 12406, which Donald Trump claimed to invoke to federalize the National Guard, says that it has to be issued through the governor. Like literally, the statute says that. And here's her response.
Finally, again, Section 12406 says that orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of the states. Were these orders issued through Governor Gavin Newsom?
They're issued by the President of the United States, who saw that our ICE enforcement officers, that our law enforcement were being pummeled by rocks. They were being attacked, Molotov cocktails being thrown at them, American cities, Los Angeles citizens being put at risk. That's real leadership to actually put more resources on the ground to make sure that things don't spiral farther out of control and no lives are lost.
All right, Tricia McLaughlin.
So her response is, I'm not going to read the law. I'm just going to make it up on my own. That's what's going on this morning. There's a press conference going on with Trump now. I'm going to bring you that after this video. So check back in about 90 minutes or so on our YouTube channel. I'm going to cover this disastrous press conference going down right now.
Can't get enough Midas? Check out the Midas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MidasPlus.com.